screwdriver, pop the center cap. Using a 22mm socket, go ahead, remove the lug nuts, and pull the wheel off. Start by removing the cotter pin on the little front ball joint here. Go ahead and use your cutters to pry this out. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to go ahead and loosen the tie rod end nut. Just going to take that down a few threads, but leave it on. Using a 24mm wrench, we're going to go ahead and loosen this jam nut. Just break it free, but thread it back up. We're going to use this as a reference point for our replacement part. Next, you can try and tap the bottom of the ball joint stud here, and if that doesn't work, we'll tap the side of the knuckle to pop that up. Remove the nut and pull the tie rod end out. Next, we're going to go ahead and count the threads it takes for this tie rod end to unthread off of the tie rod end here. So we'll go ahead and count 1, 2, 22. Now go ahead and thread your outer tie rod on, and just thread it on as many times as it did to take it off. And that's why we have the jam nut left there as a reference point to stop as well. Perfect. Go ahead and take your tie rod and go ahead and line that up. Push that through the knuckle. You might have to tap that down just a little bit. Install the castle nut. Thread that on. Now we're going to go ahead and torque this nut down to 44 foot-pounds. You also want to make sure that the hole in the stud itself lines up with one of these notches in the castle nut. Going to install the cotter pin. Push that through. Bend the tab over. And that's that. If you have the ability to use a torque wrench on this here, you want to tighten this jam nut to 55 foot-pounds. We're going to go ahead and tighten this up with a wrench with a 24mm. Using a pair of pliers, just grab the tie rod end and just straighten that out. Next, you want to go ahead and install the grease fitting. Get that started by hand. Then using a 7mm wrench, you can go ahead and continue to thread that down. You just want to snug it up when you get to the bottom. Do not over tighten or you'll strip out the inner portion here. Once completed, go ahead and install the grease gun and grease it up. Fill up that boot with some grease. You gotta lift the wheel, get the wheel back on. Go ahead and start all of the lug nuts by hand. Repeat. Now go ahead and torque the wheel to 140 foot-pounds. install a center cap. And once you've completed this job, you now want to bring the vehicle down for an alignment.